So, Lady Colin Campbell, for a long time, you have been diagnosing Meghan Markle as a malignant narcissist and so much more. But what was very interesting this week is that May Mailman, who is now one of Stephen Miller's top aides within Donald Trump's White House, and, you know, a rising star, I think we can say, in the world of MAGA. And Lady C, she said that the Duchess of Sussex manufactures trauma in the service of success. Do you agree?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I think it's absolute. Meghan is finally going to achieve the recognition that she deserves. I couldn't agree more. But Meghan is an opportunist, and she knows that this plays well, and she's using. But I also think, on an atavistic level, Meghan needs sympathy. And this is a symptom of, ironically enough, of one of the classical signs of a genuine sociopath. Genuine sociopaths need sympathy. So at the very moment that they are taking advantage of you, they want your sympathy. And if you have somebody who displays the signs that Meghan does of narcissistic personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, which is sociopathy, and Machiavellianism, all of which Meghan is the textbook archetype of. And I'm only going totally off her comments and her behavior. I'm not coming to a conclusion on instinct. I am coming to a conclusion that is absolutely pegged on her conduct. And she has capitalized over the years because Meghan lusts after admiration and sympathy. And she understands that if she has admiration, that's one thing. But because she actually has antisocial tendencies, she needs sympathy as well. So she needs to be a victim, and she needs to be a martyr. And she sets herself up to be able to claim that she's a martyr when she isn't. But it's also a way of achieving credit without doing the work. For instance, she was sent to the very best schools. She was sent to the very best kindergarten in Hollywood, then the very best Catholic girls' school in Hollywood. Then she was sent to one of the top universities in Illinois, which her father had to pay for. And do you think that once she had arrived as a royal, she immediately started to lie and claim that all the statements she had made before she ignored? And you know that her father was a wonderful man, that her father worked all sorts of hours to be able to give her the opportunities that he gave her. And he was primarily responsible for her great success. She flipped the story that all of a sudden she was a victim. She had to be working from the age of 6 months, pumping gas to be able to afford formula so that she would actually end up being able to take grants to go to state schools. And I mean, so she decided at that point that she would spin her privilege into deprivation. And that is it's very characteristic of people who want all of the advantages but don't actually want to put in the labor to achieve them. And also, there's another dimension to this. If you have genuinely had a hard life, if you have genuinely been handicapped, if you have genuinely been deprived, you do not go on about it constantly.
No,
Oh,
no,
you know,
exactly.
that is a characteristic. I mean, take for instance, thalidomide victims. They never go on and on about what they can't do. They want to go with what they can do. And anybody who is a true victim, and I now speak as somebody who was a true victim of nature, because I was born with a horrific birth defect that ruined the first 21 years of my life. And do you see me saying I'm a victim? I'm certainly not a victim. And it was something that one dealt with and coped with and moved on from. And that is what people who are genuine victims do. People who are not genuine victims, they cloak themselves in the mantle of victimhood so that their little accomplishments will seem greater than they are. When you are genuinely somebody who has had a defect or a handicap or is a victim, you do not belabor the point, because as long as you are a victim, you cannot recover from the experience that you had, and you cannot be positive, and you cannot embrace life, and you cannot achieve all the fruit of a good life if you are adopting the mantle of victimhood. It is antithetical to a good and positive and enriching life in any way, shape, or form, except financially and in terms of sympathy.
So I need you to do something for me right now. It is free, it is easy, it is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet. And it is the best way to support Outspoken. Very well put, Lady C, very well put. Look, I need to ask you about Prince Andrew. What do you make of this reporting that his potential banishment from Christmas after the leak of these email communications, specifically between the Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, and Jeffrey Epstein, is a victory for Prince William over his father after what appeared to be crunch talks between the pair in Scotland? This is how Tom Sykes wrote, Charles humiliated as he loses the war of Prince Andrew to Prince William. Lady C.
Well, you know, Dan, as you know, I know and love Tom and have a lot of respect for him. And he certainly has very good sources. My interpretation is completely different, with due respect.
What do you think's going on here?
I think that, the first thing I think is, why now? And who leaked it? And who does it benefit? Because it certainly doesn't benefit the king, and it certainly doesn't benefit Prince William, and it certainly doesn't benefit Andrew or Sarah. That's the first thing. So who does it benefit? Whoever leaked it, that's who it benefits. That's the first thing.
But isn't the person who it benefits most the Sussexes and Prince Harry?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
See.
They are the only people who benefit from it. And they are the only people who profit from the story that there is conflict between Charles and William over this and over other things. The fact of the matter is...
So do you think they're behind the leak?
Well, if they are not behind the leak, somebody who is supportive of them and their interests, I would have said, is behind the leak. these things don't get leaked accidentally and after all those many years. But the fact of the matter is that Andrew and Sarah last year stayed away. And I do not think that it's quite the, I do not think it's quite as harsh or as cut and dried as it's being presented as being. I think I actually totally agree with Charles's viewpoint on this matter. Andrew is a member of the family, not just the royal family, the family. Andrew has never been convicted of anything. To a large extent, Andrew's difficulties are fomented and kept alive by the press making out that Andrew has committed a crime which he has never committed. They are not as even-handed as they should be because they don't like Andrew. And that, I do not think, is a valid excuse for any organ that is supposed to be ethical to just wade in and try to destroy somebody's life to the extent that his own family would not be allowed to ever receive him, even privately. And I know that William is a lot tougher and more ruthless, and I say that as praise, not as criticism.
Yes.
He's more ruthless than his father, but and even if William didn't like Andrew particularly, William does not have a moral or an ethical or a just right to wish to have Andrew excluded from his family. Because let's remember, people who are convicted of terrible crimes, it used to be admirable for their relations to hate the sin but love the sinner, and even go to the execution of somebody who had committed a terrible crime. So nowadays, are we supposed to completely throw over a whole tenet of Christianity, and we are supposed to go along with baying for the blood of somebody who and excluding somebody as if he has committed one of the grossest crimes known to man, when he A, did not commit a crime, and B, if he committed an offense, it was against the prudishness of people who think that it is morally wrong for a 40-year-old man who was at the time one of the most eligible bachelors on earth and very good looking, incidentally. I mean, Andrew was good looking. I don't particularly like him as a person, but he was very good looking, and he certainly was pretty beddable as far as most women were concerned. And Virginia Giuffre, by her own account, led him to believe that she fancied him. So he might have been thinking, oh, this is my opportunity for love. And by her own account, she got $15,000 from Jeffrey Epstein for having told him that she had managed to get Andrew into bed. And let's also remember that Virginia Giuffre account of what happened is actually shot down in part in Andrew Loney's book, as I pointed out to Andrew. Now, as you might know, Andrew is my agent, and Andrew Loney, I mean, not Prince Andrew, obviously.
Yes.
And I pointed out to him that in the book, he actually goes some way to exonerate Prince Andrew from Virginia Giuffre's claims, because he proves that Andrew slept at Buckingham Palace. And Giuffre's account is that the matter took place at Kinnerton Street, and they slept together at Kinnerton Street.
Meghan's public image, her leadership style, and the way she is portrayed across traditional and social media. Supporters say the criticism has become repetitive and overly personal. Critics argue that public figures inevitably face scrutiny over their actions and decisions. So, what has actually happened? What is based on verified reporting? And where does opinion begin? Let's take a closer look. Recent commentary has featured increasingly dramatic language to describe Meghan Markle and her public profile. Opinion columns, television discussions, podcasts, and social media posts have all contributed to a renewed debate about how she is perceived. Some commentators argue her reputation has suffered in recent years. Others believe she continues to receive a level of criticism that goes beyond the available evidence. As always, headlines are designed to attract attention, but they don't always tell the whole story. Few modern public figures divide opinion as sharply as Meghan Markle. For supporters, she represents someone who challenged long-standing traditions and spoke openly about her experiences. For critics, decisions made since stepping back from royal duties have prompted ongoing questions about judgment, public messaging, and media strategy. Those competing perspectives help explain why almost every story involving Meghan generates intense discussion. Over time, repeated commentary can become part of the story itself. That's why it's important to distinguish between reporting, opinion, and speculation. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle stepped back as senior working royals in 2020. They now live in California and continue to pursue charitable and commercial projects. They remain among the most closely watched public figures in the world. Some commentators argue Meghan's public image has changed significantly over time. Others believe negative coverage has become self-reinforcing through repeated media narratives. These are interpretations and opinions, not established facts about Meghan's character or personal motivations. Before long, millions of people are discussing the latest royal controversy. Whether the story is positive or negative, Harry and Meghan remain central figures in that ongoing conversation. Whether you admire Meghan Markle, disagree with her decisions, or simply follow royal news, one thing is clear. She continues to generate extraordinary public interest. As with any major public story, the most balanced approach is to distinguish between verified facts, reported claims, and personal opinion. Doing so helps us understand not just the headlines, but the broader media landscape behind them.